There is something significant set to happen between now and 2028 every Nigerian must pay attention to. President Tinubu on August 6, 2026 pledged to list NNPC on the stock exchange at a State House meeting with Nigerian Exchange Group. Although there has not been any mention of any listing date, valuation, stake size or structure, he did mention the objective is to make NNPC efficient like Saudi Arabia's Aramco. But as always, here's what they aren't telling you and why it is critical. Aramco's 2019 IPO is widely misunderstood as a privatization, and it explicitly was not one. Saudi Arabia floated approximately just 1.5% of Aramco, raised $25.6 billion and retained 98.5% state ownership. So in reality, what this means is the state is only selling a minority slice of cash flow while keeping full control, which is close to the opposite of the eliminate corruption and political interference framing that can be found in some Nigerian commentary on the pledge. Because while a public listing forces NNPC network to open its books, submit to strict quarterly audits and satisfy public disclosure rules, it cannot fix structural cash insolvency, deep operational failures, predatory pre-existing debt terms, or a legacy reputation for institutional corruption. In fact, it arguably helped enable one of the largest corruption scandals in world history that happened with Brazil's Petrobras that listed on multiple exchanges for decades, including the New York Stock Exchange, and was audited by major firms like PricewaterhouseCoopers, creating an illusion of safety that allowed Petrobras launch the largest share offering in global history in 2010, raising $70 billion from international investors, which allowed the board to sign off heavily inflated contracts or over-invoicing that spiraled into what later became known as Operation Car Wash, costing Petrobras nearly $44 billion in liability at the end. Now pay attention, because this is where it gets wild. The 2014 investigations revealed a massive kickback scheme run through Petrobras contracts implicated the sitting president as at the time, Dilma Rousseff, but the corruption traced back to that of the former president Luiz Inácio da Silva, whose administration appointed crooked Petrobras managers who allowed for extremely inflated contract bids. The investigations also implicated the current Speaker of the House as at then, Eduardo Cunha, who served as the ultimate gatekeeper. He used his immense political power in Congress to shield Petrobras executives from parliamentary investigations and fast-tracked legislations to favor corrupt construction cartels, pocketing at least $40 million in secret bribes. It also implicated Sergio Cabral, the state governor of Rio de Janeiro, one of the most prominent oil-producing states in Brazil. Given he controlled regional infrastructure concessions, he ensured that mega projects linked to Petrobras, like Compete refinery complex, were exclusively directed to the cartel, while demanding an aggressive 5% kickback on all major public works. He was later sentenced to over 400 years in prison. But more crucially is the historical antecedent of Nigeria's privatization effort, instigated by the IMF and the World Bank. The corruption and the scandal surrounding NITEL, PHCN, Obasanjo, Ibrahim Babangida, and so on, which we will expose in the part 2 of this video. Now, given the antecedent of our president, the National Assembly, and certain governors, can we trust this to be a positive exercise? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Follow this account now so you don't miss out on the part 2. As always, don't trust, verify.